Salam, adab, everybody. Um, First, I just before I recite, I just wanted to also show Aziz and Irfan Sahab my rubab as well. I spent a lot of years of my life in Afghanistan, and I learned a little bit how to play, and so I was just really pleased to see the rubab. Rubab in Urdu or in Persian, in Farsi would mean ruh, which means soul, and bab, which means door. So rubab is an instrument which opens up doors of your soul. So it's a very powerful instrument that's used in parts of Kashmir, parts of Punjab, of course in Pakistan, in Chitral, in a lot of the northwest frontier, and in Afghanistan. It's made from a single piece of wood, and so it's a really powerful and beautiful, quite old instrument. My hat should give that away. Many years in Afghanistan. This being Valentine's Day, I also wanted to dedicate this poem to my sweet wife, Negora. She is from Uzbekistan, and important to remember those who have helped you find, belief to go on in dark times and being partners to you in a very difficult year we've all had in this last 1 year. So let's remember that, especially with COVID and Trump around. It's not been that super easy. I also wanted to dedicate it to farmers, protests, and all manners of activists all over the world, people fighting for reduction in religious strife, for human rights, and lastly, also to the memories of certain family members. That we've all lost, or friends we've lost, dear ones. Before I recite my poem, in fact, it's been edited, so you'll see the edited version in the letter. It'll come out to you. So I just want to do a small couplet in Farsi, in Persian, in Dari, to Aziz Sahib and Irfan Sahib, just before I switch to Urdu, and then I'll recite in Urdu and then in English. عمر میگذشت چل من چراغها با تو میکردیم. عمر میگذشت چل من چراغها با تو میکردیم. باز میباشند تا چشمک تو از چمن سایل میکنند. عمر میگذشت چل من چراغها با تو میکردیم. باز میباشند تا چشمک تو از چمن سایل میکنند. So it sort of talks about what this period has been. An age has passed since we looked at a common pasture together from our Venetian blinds, or from, sharing time together and looking at the horizon together. And it says that my windows will remain open, looking at the pastures until I see the wink of your arrival. So this is just a small couplet I'd written a few years ago in Afghanistan, and while I worked there on rights and stuff, human rights. Chaliye, I'll just present to you the poem, the last poem. It's called Sehre Ummeed, which means like a new dawn, or the idea being that this hopefully is encapsulating a new dawn in this moment for us, with a change in administrations around the world, and also hopefully new energies and new ways to fight off both the epidemic and other things. So it starts with a sort of sad or sort of moment of looking at where we got lost, and then how we come back. खो गया कहीं मेरा दोस्त मेरा वतन, खो गया कहीं मेरा दोस्त मेरा वतन, था जो खुदा कभी बन गया महज सनम, था जो खुदा कभी बन गया महज सनम. चमन में थी न खुशबू न सरोवर में चांद, खाक में थी न रंजिश न पत्थर में जान. चमन में थी न खुशबू न सरोवर में चांद, खाक में थी न रंजिश न पत्थर में जान. बोया था जो बीज उखड़ नहीं पड़ता है आज, चीरी थी जो चादर पिरोती नहीं है आज. बोया था जो बीज उखड़ नहीं पड़ता है आज, चीरी थी जो चादर पिरोती नहीं है आज. हाँ सोचा था फुरकत में मोहब्बत जवां होती है, हाँ सोचा था फुरकत में मोहब्बत जवां होती है, हाँ सोचा था साए में भी सोबत जिया करती है। आओ बस वहीं लुट आए हम भी तुम भी, जहां उर्दू की बस्ती है, जहां उर्दू की रिहाइश है। आओ बस वहीं लुट आए हम भी तुम भी, जहां उर्दू की बस्ती है, जहां उर्दू की रिहाइश है। बेनकाब आपको बताना रुसवाई को दावत देना होता, बेनकाब आपको बताना रुसवाई को दावत देना होता, वस्ल भी नहीं होता और दामन पे छींटे हजार पाता, वस्ल भी नहीं होता और दामन पे छींटे हजार पाता। नजाकत इस कदर अपने कलाम को निगाह तवज्जो दी, नजाकत से इस कदर अपने कलाम को निगाह तवज्जो दी, कि हमको मीर और असद के सतह होने की गलत फहमी हो गई, कि हमको मीर और असद की सतह होने की गलत फहमी हो गई। कहते तो हमेशा थे दरबार खुद सिर्फ मासूम है हम, आज शाह सुकन होने का वहम व सहर अंगेजी भी हो गई। गुल कातिल व बागवान कहाँ एक मादे से बनते हैं, गुल कातिल व बागवान कहाँ एक मादे से बनते हैं, बहार नौ असले गुल को भी जंबूर गुल लाजिम है। ना मुझे हिंदू से कोई झगड़ा, ना मुस्लिम से कोई मोहब्बत, ना मुझे हिंदू से कोई झगड़ा, ना मुस्लिम से कोई मोहब्बत। इंसान हूँ, इंसान को जीने ही से मतलब होता है, मौत का हक सिर्फ रब को अदा करने की दुआ करता हूँ। हम साहिर साइल हैं कोई आशिक के सुबुक नहीं, हम साहिर साइल हैं कोई आशिक के सुबुक नहीं, बहर को साज सहर को सजदा शम्मा करा दे। सबब न हो सुखन साजिश का गर साकी, सबब न हो सुखन साजिश का गर साकी, सितम का सामा बहुत है सरे राह करवा दे। तो ये थी उर्दू में सहर उम्मीद या न्यू डॉन. It weaves all these ideas about religious strife in parts of the world, about wanting a different dawn. So in the beginning it talks about kho gaya kahin, I have lost my dear friend, my dear nation, it has lost itself, which was once like the divine or God for me has become a dear, as dear to me as a beloved, but it's not anymore in the way that, let's say, my what was like God for me, because it has become lost in its gardens. I don't see the fragrance in its ponds. The moon refuses to shimmer. In the dust of my land there was such a pull for me, and it is, and in its very rocks and stones there was life that I touched once, that the land, when every time I came, had a pull for me. It's missing the seed of extremism, or the seed that has been uh, put into the ground. Now, as much as I try to pull out the tree, it's hard to pull it. It's like a sheet, a bed sheet that's once torn. No matter how many times you try to sew it, it still has knots. It still has differences. How we thought that if we could be separate but equal, we would be able to grow closer together, but we were wrong. And how we thought that in each other's shadows of our differences we would be fine and be tolerant, but how that has led to sad and intolerant space. Then it says, but let's leave it all behind. Let's go to the place where Urdu has its home, where Urdu calls its own, where poetry has its home, where poetry calls its own town. Let's go and get ourselves robbed silly of ourselves, of all our notions, and lifting the veil. It says, let lifting the veil. If I revealed myself, I would be futilely notorious. There wouldn't be union, and yet the hem of the skirt would be full of the ink of accusations. So uh, um, I'll just read what I have translated further. To write and share what one wrote is the most sensitive form of trust. It is akin to a mom giving birth and letting you hold her baby just born in your hands. Um, Indeed, the killer of flowers and the gardener or the keeper of flowers could not possibly be made from the same source. Alas, the coming of the new spring flowers and honey from flowers both still require the honeybee who stung us or who stings. And then I do not have any quarrel with any Hindu or special love for any Muslim. I am a human being and, as such, concerned only with letting the divine decide how long any of us gets to live, not a human or politician. But that, anyways, I hope that's implied. Lastly, I'm a magician of these shores. Not am I to be thought of as a light lover. To the oceans and waves, concord I command. To the dawn, bow I say to the flicker of your divine candlelight. Yet, O wine bearer, listen. If you cannot find reasons for wordplay, pour the wine heartily, for there is no lack of the stuff, of the stoniness of this moment. Oh, my dear Jamshid, my dear cup passer, cup bearer, cup filler, I cannot bear. Tend to me, stir me, bid me, and get me on the road to that new dawn somewhere. Thank you.